So the corruption that's going on in fact, I just put a video. I'm putting it up again. I know why they're shadow banning it, because I made the connection between how 12 years ago, almost closing, they didn't end up having to have the state close that hospital I used to work at. It was exactly what I had suspected. They used the union to say they couldn't stay open, and then right at the last minute, U.S. Health Vest came in and bought Maryville, that hospital, and they put their own hospital in, but it still served that sister, that director, who's really just part of a sister order. Yeah. OSF Health merging with the same people that bought that hospital all these years later. How convenient. So it was all a setup. I mean, it wasn't likely personal at me, although I do think in many ways it could have been. Like they certainly, if there was somebody they wanted to go after, I think it was me. Not because I was difficult, but I think that mental health has, and I'm not saying all the people in it, I'm saying the system overall. We keep letting the same people that have no success, we don't have a positive outcomes anywhere, and they continue to do the worst horrible things. So I mentioned this before. So one of the things, and this hospital now that I mentioned in that last video, that's why it's being suppressed. There's all these freestanding psych hospitals that are being built in Illinois, everywhere, and it's all falling under one umbrella. Yeah, it's and the thing is these are the hospitals that don't want mechanical restraints used. So mechanical restraints is when you have to tie someone to the bed, but we have the Velcro, and it's not like it's for their safety. The only time you can do it is when they're a danger to themselves or other. There has to be immediate danger to do it. So usually you can de-escalate, but if you can't, that's what they're there for. That's the whole reason that we have them. And these hospitals, these freestanding psychs, are taking them away. They have been. They did. I was at a place a year ago, you couldn't use them either. It was only holds. It literally is like they are trying to make safe. They're trying to create unsafe conditions while they talk about their biggest priority being safety. That's all these people do, is talk, because they know all the areas they fail in, so they say we're trying to fix safety. No, these places are so controlling, they tell you it's dangerous for you to think outside the box, literally. It's dangerous for you to think outside the box. Think about that. That's messed up, man. I mean, it's thinking outside the box where you come to solutions. They don't want you coming to solutions. Because quite frankly, the people that have been in charge, especially in charge of mental health at the top, well, they, a long time ago, replaced care with control. They want the control. That's what this will all come down to, is that there's so many people at the top that they do not think that you can be trusted on your own to make decisions or to be allowed to think outside the box. God, that's the way we've found great solutions in history. So to have a healthcare system, a major one, especially in mental health of all areas, say that it's dangerous to think outside the box, well, it just tells me, yeah, they never wanted people to. They didn't. There were so many different things I tried when I worked at Maryville. I mean, I did have some freedom there because it was stuff that, I didn't have to, it wasn't like it was, like with the birthday cakes, which they ended up doing it, but I don't think that, on all the units. It should have been a common sense. I just don't think they ever wanted to do it. I don't think the system at the top likes people like me. And then I did ask them if I could bring the butterfly habitat in for educational reasons, and that's exactly what I used it for, to show how you can grow. And it was perfect, because it was something new and different, and they got to watch the caterpillars become these butterflies, all that. And there was just different things, and I brought in that that sky, because all the kids or many of the kids, had been with us for so long, and they oftentimes would act up when it was bedtime, because I've said before, when you have to handle DCFS kids different. You can't just tell them to go to bed. So I realized that when I looked at just myself, looking at when do these riots take place, when do they act out, and it's right before bed because they don't want to go to bed. So I'm like, okay, so we have to figure out a way to transition them more smoothly, like 30 minutes before that time, so that they'll be relaxed and can just go in their room and go to sleep. So I made my own little experiment, really. All I did was buy one of those, star things that you lay on the floor and the whole ceiling looks like stars and shooting stars. And so 30 minutes before they were going to bed, we gave it a try and the text, and put that on the ceiling. And I did it too, because one of the kids was saying, I miss being outside, I miss looking up at the stars. So I'm like, well, because you could, even though some of them we could take out during the day, we couldn't at night. So I'm like, well, why not? Let's try this. So with some soft music, I didn't get their pillows, lay on the floor. And actually, my biggest thing was wanting to see if it would help with the transition. Many of them transitioned on their own before the 30 minutes was up. So that too, the hospital ended up buying one of those machines and using it on the girls' unit. So it's like that. But now they don't want they don't want any of your ideas. They want ideas only from the people they pick. And really what it comes down to is what I always saw, is that no, they don't want you to care. Because like they want to twist, like, no, you're caring too much. Stop it. Really. Okay? The very people that say that stuff are the very people that have trained everybody not to give a shit. It just baffles me. It's like, because there's so many, especially with behavior issues, a lot of it with especially state boards, they would just like somebody to trust. That's doing a caring thing. So I really don't think that the experts, I've said science has been in opposition to God. What would science want to do that's the opposite of God? Well, no, you can't care like that. You can't care this much. Does that even make sense? No, they put all these fancy little words around it and say you're doing this, you're doing that. No, I'm just caring. I'm just being a caring person, wanting to help somebody else. Jesus kind of said we should do that. But science comes along and says, no, that you're not doing the caring thing the right way. And because we don't like the way you're doing it, well, this is why it's dangerous for people to think outside the box. The experts will tell you how to care. And I've watched for 12 years how much they care. The people that come up, write all their bullshit, and what ends up happening is nothing gets better, gets worse, which I think at those people at the top, that's what they want. Yeah, so nothing they do makes sense. Like I said, I've seen the people write all these articles at the top of healthcare. Everything they come up with, it ends up making things worse and taking away mechanical restraints. Well, that's putting a whole bunch of people in danger. But you got to wonder if, really the reason they don't want you to think is because they don't want you to care. Because they don't care. And their goal is just to make things worse. I think so. When you replace care with control, well, then you're following a God that's way different. You're following a God that you're welcome to follow, but it certainly isn't going to lead to freedom.